Hello. Hello, Magda. How are you?
Very well, good.
Okay, then let's begin today's session. Now, sit in any comfortable pose that you like. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Long exhale out. Inhale and then exhale. Let's chant 3 times Om together. Inhale. Om. Now join your hands together in front of your heart center. Bend your head forward. Open your eyes while blinking. And namaste to everyone. Okay, so yesterday we did Vinyasa flow, and Kirtanjali, you asked me about one posture. Which posture was that?
I've forgotten.
What? I think it was chair pose.
Yeah. Something
Yeah,
about
chair
that.
pose. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about chair pose. Okay, so let me see how do you do chair pose. Then I will tell you what should be the alignment of the posture.
Okay.
Okay, now release. See, in yoga we have different poses and different purpose of that particular poses. Okay, so some of the poses that will give you only strength, and some of the poses that will give you stretching, and some of the poses that they will give you only mobility of your hip joint. Okay,
Mhm.
mobility we do have in our joints, and flexibility that comes in your muscle, and stability or strength that's in your both, right, in your joints and your muscles together. Okay, let's suppose if you talk about plank pose or chaturanga dandasana, these poses are going to give you strength. Okay, the better, the more you hold there, the better stability you will find in the posture. Okay, same like in this chair pose, we don't usually have this stretching in this chair pose. If you are too much stiff, if you never did, if you never bend your knee throughout the life, then it's going to be very difficult and it will give you stretch. But if you usually bend, then it's going to be very normal. And the main purpose of this posture is to strengthen your thighs and your lower back. Okay. So in this pose, your knee, first alignment, your knee should not cross your legs or your toes. If it is crossing your legs or your toes, so the range of motion of your knee joint that is going to be extended, or that will go beyond the limit of limit of the motion. All right. So usually in any bag, like in whenever we are bending our leg, we can bend our legs till here, right? So here I have got this much range of motion in my knee joint, but here I'm not pushing a lot of pressure on my knee joint, right? That's why I'm bending. Okay, same thing if you do without taking any support, or if you're putting all pressure on your knee and then you're bending your knee, then you will have a lot of pressure on your knee joint, and then that pressure is going to be held, that pressure is going to be beared by your ligaments. Okay, so that is why usually we don't take our like knee further than the toes. Okay, that should be always like behind the toes or in line with your ankle joint. Okay, So the range of motion of your knee joint is so much, but when we do not have support, we are not supposed to bend our legs more than 90-degree angle. Understood? So in this pose, when you are leaning forward like this, just look at me here. When you're bending a leg like this is 90-degree angle in between your hamstring and your calf muscle. So this should be maintained over here. If you're bending too much forward, like here, so now my ligaments, they are not allowing me to hold there. If I'm holding here too much, then I will definitely have like tear or that injury
Pressure.
in my knee joint. Yeah, pressure. Okay, so that is why we are not supposed to push our knee forward or go beyond that limitation. Okay, and second thing, in between your thigh and your abdomen, that should also be 90-degree angle. Okay, so most of the time what people do, they do chair pose and then take their hands up and then keep their spine straight, but we are supposed to bend forward or lean forward like this, so that the angle between your abdomen and your thigh, that will be 90-degree angle. Okay,
90 degree.
so
How?
yeah, 90-degree, like your thigh and your abdomen, there should be 90-degree angle.
Like it is bending, it's slightly
Yeah,
lower than.
little, yeah, like slightly bent, because our thighs are tilting forward, or that is sloped down. Okay, so that is why we are lowering our abdomen down. Otherwise, if you are lifting our leg is moving forward or sloping down, then it's going to increase the angle between your abdomen and your thigh. Okay, have you seen range?
Yeah,
range range
range.
do you know range? जिससे हम हुक को टाइट करते हैं.
Okay. Tools.
Yeah, tools, yeah, that
Yeah.
tool, range tool. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so we are going to take that example. See, if we are bending a knee too much forward, so your gravity is going to pull you so much easily. If you're bringing a knee back in the center line, it's going to be hard for the gravity to pull us down, right? So if you're using that tool, and if you're trying to losing up that nut or something like this, so if you're pushing it down from the, like, from the far distance, then it will be easy. But if you're coming close to that nut, and then it's going to be hard, right? So the same thing is going to happen here. We are not supposed to let our hips go forward or go backward away from the center of the body. We have to try squeezing our entire body to the center line. Okay, the more you are center towards the gravity or towards the center of the line, then more stability you will find into this chair pose.
Okay.
Okay, Martha?
I have a question.
Yes.
And
Yes.
are the heels which are pressing into the mat and toes, a little bit lifted, aren't they helping?
Yeah, when you're pulling your toes, that time, see, when we have flat feet, do you know the flat feet?
Yes, sir.
When we do not have this natural arch in our feet, when
Yes.
this natural arch is collapsing forward, that is your flat feet. Okay, so in that chair pose, whenever we are lifting our toes off the floor, we are trying to like strengthening our plantar fascia. This is called plantar fascia. Okay, the moment when you're pulling your toes back like this, now here I'll have arch.
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to maintain your arch on your feet, that time we can pull our toes back. When you are pulling your toes back, you will have also that engagement in your calf muscles. Okay, so there are two reasons why we are pulling our toes back. Okay, otherwise flattening your feet completely down on the floor, that is also fine. Or the distance between your both legs, that should be hip width apart. If you are bringing your legs together and keeping your knees together, then you'll be completely supported. When we are taking whenever we are taking support, that time we are not that much engaged. All right, so the more you are away from the support, the more you are away from the ball, the more engagement you will find, and you will increase that, like, holding. You will increase the holding and duration of the time.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
And the same chair pose, if you want to strengthening more, if you cannot like hold the posture into the chair pose, then always you can take the support of the wall like this, like take the one arm gap or 2 or 3 feet gap away from the wall, and then adjust your hips here, and then sit back like this in the chair pose. Now here we do have that complete engagement in our thigh muscles. Okay,
Mhm.
either you can lean forward like this, or you can take your hands back, or completely leaning on against the wall.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is how we are going to build the strength of our thigh. And whenever we have knee pain, so that usually happens because we do not have that much strength in our thigh bone or on our lower back. Because that knee pain press, like whenever we are standing or whenever we are doing like any pose, and we are having all lot of like all pressure in only in our knee joint, that means that is being shifted to your knee from your lower back and from your thigh. If you had if you had enough strength in your thigh, if you had enough strength on your lower back, that
Mhm.
could be shifted and that could be uh, transferred.
Distributed.
Yeah,
Correct.
distributed. Yes, distributed. So that is
Mhm.
why in the whenever we have knee joint pain, like most of the knee joint pain that happens, like who has got obesity or like injury is different thing, but when they do not have strength on their lower back, when they do have lordosis problem, when they do have anterior pelvic tilt,
Mhm.
tilting problem on the pelvic girdle,
Mhm.
that time it usually happens.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, instead of stretching, we are supposed to always strengthening our lower back and thigh muscles. Okay, so most of the time we are supposed
Mhm.
to always strengthening our lower back muscle. Mhm.
Yeah. I've been skiing all my life. That's why I don't have a problem with with
Very
chair.
nice. How old are you, Magda?
I will not tell. Guess.
Okay,
Guess.
Kitanjali ji, would you like to guess her age?
As she has children, so I guess above 30.
I am 30.
About 30. No, 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 one particular age.
Particular.
Hmm. Just coming. Yes,
Come
Kitanjali ji,
on.
guess.
Come on. Give me a good number.
Not, oh, at least give a hint. Between 30 or 40. Is it 35?
Okay. And now what about you?
Me, I
You
am just
maybe you are Magda ji, you are 38,
Wow, really? I'm
more
very
than.
happy. Guys, you made me happy today. Not even today. The whole month I will be happy.
All right. So how old are you?
I am 10 years older. 49.
49.
but you don't
Wow.
look at it. You look so young. You maintain yourself very well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Very nice, Magda.
And
And now
Kritanjali,
you
how are you?
guess,
Kritanjali, and how
Gitanjali.
old are you? You are very young. You are not even 20, I think.
20. That is too much for me. I'm about 20.
I think you are not above 20. I think maybe you are 17.
No, I have crossed the teenage.
Now she's making you happy.
So how old are you?
I'm kind of entered in an adult stage.
Okay, then any other question that you want to ask about any post?
Wow. I have a question, for example, about Chakrasana, the wheel pose. I am not able to do it. Absolutely, I have an injury. I
In your
used to
shoulder.
I used to have an injury while skiing, many years ago, and I'm very weak on my shoulder. And I have a problem even with bridge pose, and the wheel is absolutely impossible because of the shoulder.
Yeah, because of the shoulder. Okay, so in this shoulder movement, we have 6 movements in the shoulder. Okay, this is called flexion, and this is extension. This is abduction and adduction, and outer rotation, internal rotation. Okay, so in the shoulder chakrasana or wheel pose, we are supposed to rotate our hands outward. This is your outer rotation. Okay, and flexion together. Okay, so if you cannot take your arms up, it means there's a problem in your in your flexors of your arms. Okay, so flexors are like your chest muscles. Okay, so this is called flexion when you're taking your arms up. At the same time, we are supposed to rotate our hands outward. Okay, and one more thing, the tendency of our body is whenever we are taking our arm upward and then elevating high, that will start to rotate inward. Okay, but here we are supposed to bring the enough awareness so that that outer rotation and then elevation, they both will be combined and sustained there. But when the usually what happens when you are taking your arm up, now elevating high, now you will find internal rotation. But what we are supposed to do, outer rotation and elevate, outer rotation and elevate. Okay, so just please take your hands up. Now you will understand. Only one hand. Okay?
Hands up.
Just yeah, from sideways. Now take your hand up, all the way high, reach up, and then elevate. See, if your shoulder is coming close to your ears, this is your internal rotation. But if your shoulders are coming away from, like going away from the ears, this is your outer rotation. Outer rotation, internal rotation. Do the outer rotation, everyone like this. This is the outer rotation. This is the outer rotation, and then take your hands up over the head. Now it's the outer rotation. Now turn your palms forward. See, the outer rotation, just turn your palms forward. Now again, you're maintaining this outer rotation from the top of your humerus bone. Okay.
Okay.
Same like in downward facing dog. See, as I told you in that day, in the downward facing dog, we do have back bend, we do have forward bend too. If you're looking for stretches on your hamstring, if you're looking for stretches on your lower back, you will have that nice extension on your posterior group of muscles. But if you're looking at that extension on your thoracic region, again this is going to give you nice extension in your thoracic region. Okay, there we do have back bend and forward bend too, both together. Okay, in the downward facing dog, we are supposed to rotate our hands outward like this. Okay, the moment when you're tucking your head in, you will find this internal rotation.
Yes.
Let's do downward facing dog. Let me see, how do you do downward facing dog? Yes. See, now tuck your head under, tuck your head in, and then look at your navel center. And now bring that awareness in your shoulders. Is it rotating inward or outward? How is it rotating? Inward, right? So now see, if you are enough flexible, if you have enough awareness in your shoulder socket, that is then we can tuck our head in. If we do not have enough awareness in our shoulder, we are never supposed to tuck our head in. You're supposed to look front. All right. So if you want to tuck your head in, make sure your hands are rotating outward. Now tuck your head in and bring that all awareness in your shoulders and reach your hips high and elevating your shoulders. Now back to the center, relax, release. Same in chakrasana, in any back bend, whenever we are extending our spine. See, when you're doing back bend, that is your extension of your spine. When you are doing forward bend, that is your flexion of your spine. I'm just talking about spine. I'm not talking about muscles. If you're moving back, at that time the flexion, where do we have flexion? In our lower back
No, in the
when we are
forearm
moving back.
here.
See, when we are bending back, at that time in muscles, what do we have? Where we do have extension and flexion. When you're doing back bend, the back muscles, they will be contracted. This is your flexion, and your
Mhm.
abdomen muscle, they are extending.
Mhm.
But in your spine, let's talk about spine now. Now, if you're moving backward, now your spine is extending. When you're folding forward, this is the flexion of your spine. Okay, so proportionally and proportionally and opposite, they both are working like alternatively. Okay, if you are bending back, this is your flexion, this is your extension. But if you are bending forward, now it's your extension, this is your flexion.
Yeah, opposite.
Okay.
Mhm.
So in any back bend, whether you are doing Hastottanasana like this or Chakrasan, camel pose, or if you're taking your arms up over the head in Warrior A, so there should be outer rotation in your arms. Okay, because in the outer rotation, we can elevate your hands even higher than before, and then we can even like whenever we are rotating a hand outward, we will create the space in our shoulder socket. When you're creating the space in your shoulder socket, you can take your hand even further than before, and you can take it even like more backward than before. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's suppose extend your arms forward like this, palm facing down towards the floor. Now inhale, take your hands up. Now you cannot take your hands further than this. Okay, now rotate your hands outward like this, rotate your hands outward, forward, and then reach your pinky finger high, and then take your arms up. Keep taking your hands up, open up your chest. Now you can take your hands even like
Further.
more backward than before,
Yeah,
right? Further than before.
that's right. Mhm.
Above your head, we are supposed to rotate our hands outward. And this is also going to give us nice stability. Okay. And in Chakrasana, if we are pushing our heels on the floor, or most of the time we lift our heels off the floor and then we try to lift up high from the toes. Like we tuck our toes under and then we lift our heels off the floor, right?
Mhm.
So we're not supposed to do it because if you're pressing your heel down and you're pulling your toes back, this will give you more extension, not this one.
Mhm.
Okay, when you're pushing your heel down, now here you will have extension on your hip flexors. Hip flexors means this part.
Yeah.
Okay, extension we will have in the anterior group of muscle, but the flexion we will have on our buds, on our lower back, on our like sorry, scapula and others. So that's how we will do chakrasana.
Mhm. And also the teacher in asana class, he said, and this is connected with the heels, what what you're just saying, that
Yes.
you can lift yourself from this chakrasana, yeah,
Yes.
from the thighs, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. From the thighs, now you can easily come up from the
Mm-hmm.
thighs if you can push your heel down.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't push your heel down, see, if see, usually it's very hard to push your heels down. Once you are habitual of pushing your heel down, is going like this is going to make you habitual of it, and then it's going to be very easy to come up from the from chakrasana to stand up position. Okay, so that is why just keep pushing your heels down and keep
Mm-hmm.
extending your arms outward.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, Kritanjali, can you do chakrasana?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's see how do you do. Is your body warmed? If it's not warm, then no need to try.
I can do it.
Okay, okay then. Show us. Very nice. Now, see, And one more thing, if your feet are turning outward, see, it's your back bend. Now, definitely the tendency of your body is to uh, rotate your legs outward. If that is rotating outward, you just need to bring your feet parallel to each other.
Mhm.
Turn your feet slide in. Yes. Now press your heel on the floor and then reach your hips higher than before. Reach your hips high, press your heels, and then reach up high. Very nice. And then press your palms and then release back. Release back. Very nice. Now hug your thighs, hug your legs. So this Chakrasana is not like beginner pose, it's like very intense pose. Yeah, Magda, if you are injured, then don't try because it's going to make it more worse.
I I can do it just a bit, but you know, it's never a proper wheel. Yeah. Now I can't do it
Okay.
at all because I have this injury for like 3-4 days. I was even not coming for the class.
3-4 days. What happened to your shoulder?
No, I just, you know, during the practice,
Okay.
I was not coming for a few days, as you have noticed, because I was hurting a lot. It was hurting a lot.
All right. All right.
Now still hurting, but not so much.
So just take rest. Give your shoulder rest. Then it is going to be cured.
Our philosophy teacher said, "Don't look for obstacles." So I'm avoiding obstacles.
Yes. Okay. So any other pose that you want to know about?
Shirshasana.
Okay. Sirsasana. In Sirsasana, can you do Magda Sirsasana?
I don't
Headstand.
know. Headstand. Yes, I can do.
Yeah, headstand. This is your Sirsasana.
Yes, I
Okay.
can.
And you, Kritanjali ji?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I
So
can.
Sirsasana, I will tell you tomorrow. Today, I don't have got space then. Okay. Tomorrow, I will tell you practically. And
can-
any other pose?
I can try to do it now if you want.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Yeah. You may try. See, in the headstand, we have to make a nice triangle like this. Okay. And then take your hand behind your head. And then press your crown of the head on the floor like this, and then squeeze your elbows together. The more you squeeze your elbows, the more stability you will find in this. Because in Sirsasana, the foundation is your head and your hands. If you're not squeezing or if you're not stabilizing them, you cannot find the balance. So in the headstand, first we will squeeze our elbows and then we'll drop our crown of the head, just like her, as she's doing. Now lift your knees like this and walk your legs forward as she's doing. Just keep walking your legs forward as long as your hips gets over your head. ठीक है, आपको तब तक वॉक करते रहना जब तक आपका हिप्स आपके हेड के ऊपर ना आए. ठीक है. Then bend your legs and then bend your one leg and the other leg. In the beginning, take the support of the wall, but later on, you may get off the wall. Very nice, Magda. And immediately after this Sirsasana, you're supposed to bend into child pose. See, in Sirsasana, we do have a lot of pressure in our head, and then blood flow, rapidly move to your head. But in handstand, it does not come directly in your head; it comes in your hands. So that's why in headstand, we are supposed to dash into child pose, but in handstand, that's fine because that blood is coming to your hands. But still, we are supposed to like bend or do forward bend like this.
Magat, how many days you did it? Like, you know it before?
Headstand very easy, Kritanjali ji. You can easily learn in 2 and 3 days. Because
Is
here
it?
student they do
A
come
little
and
bit
then
more. A little bit more.
It need more shoulder strength, I guess.
no, it's very easy. If you can do Chaturanga Dandasana, you can do anything. Because see, in inversions, your strong core, your strong arms is not as important as to find the balance in your hands or in your, like, you just need to find the balance in between, like leaning and pushing, right? When you're pushing forward, at the same time you have to resist the action. Like if you're leaning forward, you have to resist that action and find the balance in between resistance and pushing. Apart from it, there's nothing in inversions, and you
But
just need to find the center together. Yeah.
but I think the problem is that when you are inverted, head down,
Mm-hmm.
you lose a bit everything, yeah, balance. So,
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah. The
example,
consciousness.
I
Yeah.
I can do the headstand, but I cannot do elbow stand. Only
Elbow
only with
stand.
wall. Only with wall. I
Mm-hmm.
tried with two legs, and I cannot.
Mm-hmm.
My head doesn't understand where the balance is. So
Yeah, in the beginning, when I practiced these inversions like handstand or this headstand, so it was hard to understand where my leg is because they were
yes,
up, like
yeah,
my body was upside down and I could
yeah.
not understand the movement of my legs. But the more you hold there, so the time will come where you can easily find that balance in your arms. But
Mm,
that time we are supposed to bring that all awareness in our feet. The more
mhm,
you move your legs, the more you like shake your legs or give your legs movement, then you will understand like where your legs are moving. Like
mhm,
we are supposed to bend, we are extending,
yeah.
like just keep on moving your legs when you are in the headstand.
Mhm, mhm.
That is then is going to give you nice comfortable, nice comfort, and you will get a good hold of it.
Mhm.
Okay. And the headstand, like if you're doing straight headstand, like your legs are together, it's going to be harder. But if you're opening your legs out like this, it's going to be easy because the body weight is shifted. And
Mhm.
then now your body is going to be like, for your body is going to be very easy to find the balance in between, like both legs like this. It will be like a pendulum.
I'm working on it.
Hmm.
I am working on it.
Yeah, just work on it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about bridge pose now. Okay, as I told you, in any extension of your spine or in any back bend, we have outer rotation of your arms. Same like in the chakrasan or camel pose or urdhva mukha svanasana or cobra pose, and in the bridge pose even. In the bridge pose, we are going to roll your arms in and then press your hands and then roll your hands outward. Like interlock your fingers, everyone,
Mhm,
and then pull your chest up. Now you will find this outer rotation of your arms. If you're
mhm,
rotating hands inward, that means you're doing wrong. Okay? Just rotate your hands outward like this. Understood? So if you're interlocking your fingers and then rotating your hands outward like this is the outer rotation behind your leg. Behind your hip. I mean
mhm.
behind your spine.
So the palms shouldn't be pressed behind our back.
Just see like this, interlocking your fingers and then opening your hands out like this.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Your hands are interlocked, but now you're rotating your hands outward
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
from
Okay.
your humerus bone or
Mhm.
shoulder socket.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
This is a good tip.
Mhm. And this is your extension of your shoulders. This is not a flexion.
Extension.
Arms up. This is your flexion. See, usually we feel like this is your extension,
Mhm.
but this happens like it's like opposite in your shoulder socket. But in your leg, you can easily find that extension and flexion. When you're bringing your leg forward, what do we call this? Flexion or extension? Flexion, yes. Now, when you're taking your leg back, this is your extension. But in your arms, when you're taking your arm up, so we feel like it's your flexion, but it's not flexion, it's extension. sorry,
Mm.
we feel like it's extension, but it's your flexion. But when you're
Mhm.
taking our arm backward, what is this? Is this flexion or extension?
Extension.
Extension. All right.
Mhm.
So, and we have few movements more in our body, like protraction, retraction. You may know, I think. So when you're squeezing your elbows, sorry, squeezing your chest and pushing your scapulas away from each other, this is your protraction. When your
Mhm.
scapulas are together, this is your retraction.
Mhm.
In the tabletop, if you are doing this
Pro-
retraction and protraction, this
Mhm.
is going to also build that strength in your shoulder socket. Okay,
Mhm.
let's do that one. Come up into the tabletop.
And also, I think this fret pose, yeah, fretting.
Mhm. Now from here, now retract your shoulders, bring your scapulas together. Yes, do not make arch. No, it's not cat and cow. Yeah, bring your scapulas together and then protract your shoulders. Protract, push your hands. Okay, as you're here, now retract your shoulder. This is the retraction. Now this is the protraction. Retraction
Mm.
and protraction. Just move your scapulas only. So keep moving up and lower your shoulders down. Very nice. Now again, scapulas away from each other. So whenever you have pain in your upper back, so do this protraction and retraction. This is going to create space in your joints and you will have, nice extension and then free movement on your arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, now ask whatever you want about any other pose.
Mhm.
So what about the if somebody has shoulder dislocation, what is the best exercise for them?
See, for those who has got dislocated shoulder, it's going to be very hard for them to lift their hand, and it's not like it's also you know suggested that do not lift your hands. But if
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
lifting hands, it's going to be hard and it's going to be dislocated again.
Mhm.
For those, like so many movements are restricted, but few movements that they can do. Let's suppose if they cannot take their arms upward because they know better that which movement is good for them. Maybe
Mm.
that shoulder is dislocated from the backside or front side or upper side, but it depends. If they cannot take their hand upward, they just move their shoulders up like this and then move down. Or you can use the strap and then pull up your chest because they cannot take their hands upward. So if
Mhm.
still they want to do back bend, they can interlock their fingers and then open up your chest or use the block because they is again it's going to be hard for them to like rotate your hands outward. So just use the block behind and then open up your chest or using that elastic belt.
Yeah.
Okay, because they do not have strength in their joint because it's dislocated, so they are supposed to build the strength in their arms muscles.
Mhm.
Okay, so the same work that is going to be done by your muscles,
Mhm.
but it's not going to be the same as natural.
Um, okay, I have a question about crow pose.
Crow pose.
Crow. Yes, I'm putting my knees into the armpits. Yes, Uh,
Hmm.
where I'm supposed to do it because I'm bruised afterwards.
Hmm. See, here in your elbow, just feel the space here, bend your elbow. We have space
Mm-hmm.
in your elbow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Kritanjali, did you find the space?
Yes, sir.
yeah.
So in this space, we are supposed to put our knee.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So it's very small space.
Really?
And yes, see, if you can easily just look at me here. If you're doing crow pose and adjusting your both knees over here in this space,
Uh-huh.
in the beginning, it will be hard and you will be shaking.
Wow.
But once you find the space and you get your knee on that space, after that, you can easily get to the one leg crow pose like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you're keeping your leg on your triceps like this,
Yes.
that's
This
not on the
is,
space.
this
Now
is
it's going to be very hard because
yeah.
we don't have stability.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Mhm.
So try to adjust your knee on this space.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very hard. It's very intense. But try it, make it happen. Bend your elbow, Tanzali. You're not bending. हाँ
Like this?
हाँ अभी अभी आप यही वाला करो क्योंकि आपके शोल्डर में स्टेबिलिटी नहीं है. अभी आप यही करो. हाँ नॉर्मली. और आगे देखो, आगे देखिए, आगे देखो. हाँ लीन फॉरवर्ड, लीन फॉरवर्ड. बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. और फिंगर टिप से पुश करना आपको. और लीन करो, और लीन. एल्बो से थोड़ा सा एल्बो से आगे. और आगे, थोड़ा सा और आगे आएगा. अभी नहीं बनेगा बैलेंस. हाँ एक लेग ऊपर करो केवल. लिफ्ट यू वन लेग ओनली. हाँ ऐसे ही. ठीक है. तो स्टार्टिंग में आपके शोल्डर में काफी दर्द होगा. You will
Mm-hmm.
find the tearness in your shoulders, but that tearness is going to again recover and it will give you nice strength. Okay. So when I used to do this crow pose or one leg crow pose, so my shoulder used to, collapsed. They used to, you
Mhm.
know, they used to have a lot of pain. But later on, after that practice, it went off and then now it's fine. Okay. So in the beginning, it will happen to you too.
Mm-hmm.
I was always taught as high as possible in the armpit.
Yeah, that is your crane pose. See, this is your crane pose when you're bringing your knees under your armpit like this, and then you're taking your arms up and then holding. But in this, I cannot lift my leg, other
Uh-huh.
leg. Okay. But if you want to go further than this crow pose, that time this space is going to help you out.
Okay.
See, the body design is very nice.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
So tomorrow, I just want to see you do crow pose on this space. Okay. And you, Kritanjali ji, try this over here like this. See, आप कैसे कर रहे हो? आप क्रो पोज में यहाँ पे हो, आपकी एल्बोज ऐसे है. ठीक है. जब तक आपकी एल्बोज आगे नहीं आएगी, until unless you get your elbow and your wrist in line, you can never find the balance. ठीक है. आप यहाँ पे हो, you are here. Now lift your one leg only and then look
Mhm.
front. ठीक है. आपको lean करना है, lean forward and push your fingertips down. The more you push your fingertips down, the more resistance you will find. Because see, you're pushing forward, but we need to have resistance too. The more you resist, the more you push. Now they should be combined, and in between there we'll find the balance.
So we should push the fingers.
No, yeah, keep pushing your fingers. That is resisting that action. Okay. If I'm keep leaning forward and resisting, now I
Yeah.
will find.
And looking forward. Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward. The spine should be straight.
Okay.
We have to
Yes.
be on our palms.
Look. Yes, look front. Press your fingertips down. Lift your one leg only. Lift your one leg. Lift your one leg. Yes. Stay here. You see that movement is coming there in your leg. Just find that space. Look front. Hold. Yes. Now on the other side, drop your right leg and then left leg up. So that's how you're going to learn
Mm-hmm.
first. This is the basic that we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. देखो धीरे धीरे आ जाएगा वो. अब ऐसे
हम्म.
प्रैक्टिस करते रहना.
And also
Mhm.
there is this pose, I don't know in Sanskrit, fallen angel.
Falling
This
angel, yes, yes.
falling, yes. It's on
Yeah.
the side, yeah. It's
Yes,
also
yes.
the same spot.
No, not in the same spot. It will be twisted, and then you will drop your head like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a one. So that falling angel and headstand and any other pose, tomorrow we are going to talk about.
Great.
Okay. So today you have got so many poses already.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's finish today's session. Sit in any comfortable pose. Close your eyes. Let's chant one Om followed by three Shanti. Inhale. Shanti. 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 Join your hands together in front of your heart center. Bend your head forward. Now open your eyes while blinking. And namaste to everyone.
Namaste.
Enjoy your evening. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Right.